And Margaret Brennan, good enough to join us now from Guantanamo Bay there in Cuba. A fascinating look, Margaret, inside this facility. What exactly was it like to see?
Well, Josh, it's amazing. This camp once housed hundreds of detainees. Now they're down to just 60. So many of these buildings stand emptied out, empty prison cells. The 60 that remain, 10 of them, you can hear the morning call here for the soldiers and servicemen. About 10 of them are of the high-value detainees are at a camp we weren't allowed to see. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, terrorists that you would know by name. Of the 50 others, there are plenty of men who have never been charged, haven't been convicted, and they're in this gray area. That's the prison that we showed you on CBS this morning. These men are allowed to roam freely within a common area. They have access to sort of a kitchen. They can keep their own food. They get prayer time. They have freedom of movement within the facility. But what they don't have necessarily is any clear date on when they could be either in a courtroom, a military commission to have their case heard. They don't have any clarity necessarily on their release. 21 of them do have some hope here because they are in line cleared for transfer, meaning that the U.S. intelligence community says they can be released since they're no longer a security threat. Some of them are going to be going to other countries, and we're going to give you a look inside the facility, the apartments that they live in, later on in the evening news and on CBS this morning. So you'll get to see their pathway to freedom for the 20 who will be released. But many of these men do not know what their fate will hold, particularly under a Trump presidency.
Margaret, closing this prison was a point of emphasis for President Obama prior to his first election in 2008. To do so now would mean he would have to defy Congress to do it. How likely is it?
Well, one of President Obama's very first executive orders was to shut down this prison and to ban enhanced interrogation techniques like waterboarding. That closing this prison proved much more complicated than he believed it would be because Congress doesn't want these detainees brought to U.S. soil to be held in maximum security prisons. It's also more complicated because some of these detainees, frankly, their legal cases are in this gray area. They'd have to wait on a military commission to have their case heard. There's some controversy about putting them in civilian courts back in the United States. So this is an extremely complicated issue, much more so than he thought it would be. For President Trump, President-elect Trump, he has campaigned on this promise to expand this place, said he'd even consider putting Americans down here. Scaling that up is possible. We were told by the Rear Admiral who commands this facility they could hold 270 detainees. They've got just 60. But the thing is, doing that will add tremendous costs because you need to bring in service people to provide the kind of infrastructure, the kind of security that if you had them at a maximum security prison somewhere in the United States is there because you've got local police and local authorities. So you're really creating this prison just to house those 60 detainees who remain.
And at a staggering cost, as you mentioned in your piece, $10 million per detainee per year, a remarkable number to consider. Margaret Brennan, there in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. We do appreciate your time.